cultivating the next generation of leaders. Higley Unified School District. Grow, learn, lead. Visit HUSD.org.
The use of technology and the tools in our everyday activities is expanding rapidly. Makey-makeys, virtual reality, Kibo robots, Vex robotics, circuit stickers, and the list can go on of tools that are available to help engage students in the 21st century classroom. We at Higley Unified School District know that in order to prepare our students for the future, we need to prepare them to not only consume technology, but to engage with it in a safe and productive way. Not only do we want our students to master technology, we want them to understand how to safely use it as a tool to improve their learning and development. Our goal for every student is to achieve digital literacy by providing them with comprehensive technology curriculum that is based on the National ISTE standards and the Arizona K-12 computer science standards. This curriculum, along with courses in coding, robotics, computer science, engineering, biotechnology, and others, provides students with opportunities to explore and engage with technology that is appropriate to their age and the content they are learning. Our teachers want to share their stories with how they and their students are successfully using technology in their classrooms. What you will see and hear is just a small glimpse into our year-long curriculum.
Technology is everywhere, and if you want to come to my classroom and you want to see what we're doing with technology, come one week we're doing something, come to the next week we're doing something else, and then I have different classes. We're all doing something different. The real thing we're doing with technology is that we're not just simply users of technology. I mean, obviously that's the first thing we need to do. We need to know how to operate it, and that's what we do a lot with technology, whether it's software, a 3D printer, a testing device, anything like that, or electronics. We need to learn how to use it, and that's what we do here is we train our students how to use this technology, and then the innovation comes from the students. I present a problem to them, general problem, it could be anything. Present them a problem and then let them use these tools of technology to solve that problem in their own way. We sprinkle the coding all over the place throughout our four-year program, and we introduce them to different languages, not just in engineering, but also in AP Computer Science. They learn the different languages as well. But the main thing about the coding here at Higley High School is that we want them to create something, and we want them to fail. We want them to be able to get those critical thinking skills and be able to troubleshoot and persevere through a problem. And I think that taking that skill, even though it's in the classroom, they don't realize it, but when they get out into college or they get their first job, they're going to come across something that's not working, and they need to persevere, problem solve.
We're we're coding these robots to make them run differently. So like this motor could go clockwise, counterclockwise, or depending on certain elements of it. Like if I press this button, it turns clockwise, but if I release it, it turns counterclockwise. So we're basically learning to tell the machine what to do using variables and if-else and while loops while maintaining a proper mindset.
Today, we're kicking off a project in one of my engineering classes. I gave them a list of 15 problems that they'd want to solve. These students know how to code now. They know how to build a structure. They know how to build a robot. But now, I give this, they now have this problem, and now it's endless. They can do whatever they want with it. I mean, we're not talking about building a big structure or a satellite or anything like that, but they have a problem that they're going to solve in their own way. And if you ever want to come see it, you're more than welcome to come down and watch. Unified robotics it's new to our school, and I want to give kids who don't normally have an opportunity to, say, the technology that we do in engineering, to have that opportunity to learn and experience with other students. And I think that's one of the things that we've accomplished this year.
Digital citizenship is a foundational learning skill within our ISTE standards. Through Common Sense Media, Learning.com, and Google's Interland, media specialists are teaching the Higley students the importance of being safe and smart online.
So in Mindful Mountain, I'm learning about how it's to be mindful and not to share things with people like strangers or hackers. And now in Reality River, I'm learning about how not to fall for scams.
Google has an online learning adventure called Interland. This opportunity is fun for kids and makes learning about digital safety and citizenship interactive and really fun. Each quarter, we integrate digital citizenship lessons with our tiny little kindergartners all the way up to 6th grade, and we're continually teaching the students how to navigate the internet in a safe manner. We want them to be smart online and understand the importance of protecting those passwords and simply logging on, and they're not sharing information with others that don't need to know those types of things.
I'm trying to get the hackers away from stealing my stuff, so it's giving me questions to do a strong password, and I'm picking passwords and I'm securing my secrets.
We also want kids to understand the importance of what they share and making sure that it's appropriate, and who they share with is people that are allowed to have the information. Lastly, we teach kids that it's always cool to be kind online.
I like about this game that it's teaching me not to be a bully.
We hear on a daily basis about bullying and things that are happening in social media with kids, and so it's something we really want to focus to make sure that our Higley students and students overall are safe in the internet world. All of these activities teach our students the skills they need to be good citizens in the digital world.
So, hi, my name's Christine Arnett, and I'm proud to be the media specialist at Chaparral Elementary. I've been in the Media Center for 4 years now, and we have seen some changes. One of the best growth opportunities I think we have noticed with our students has been from last year to this year. Being full-time in the library, we started last year with our students just learning the basics, how to log in to the computers, what are the parts of the computers, how do they work together, and just learning the basics of all of our Microsoft Office products, as well as Office 365 and the basics of coding. This year, we're able to build on that knowledge, and one of the projects we're working on with our upper middle school is online research. We've all Googled something, but the students don't understand how it works. So we started with, what is a search engine, how does it work, and what are some strategies we can use in that search bar to help get the research that we need. The lesson you're going to be watching is our students, just an introduction on learning biased and unbiased websites. What are they? How to watch out for them, and learning how to evaluate websites online.
All right, I'm going to show you this website, and I thought this one was super cool. It is all about The endangered Pacific Northwest tree octopus. Okay? Pacific Northwest, where's that? It is in the U.S. Anyone ever heard of Seattle, Washington? Yes. Okay, Oregon? Yes. So the Washington, Oregon area, that is the Pacific Northwest. So here we have a tree octopus. It is endangered. How can we tell if this website comes from a credible source? It has some great information. Ashley, what's one?
Check the domain.
I want to check the domain. Okay, it's .net. Is that open or closed?
Open.
It's open, so really anyone could have purchased this website. So it's kind of a little bit of a red flag. Okay, what's some other things that we can do? This is what we know. But we can look at this website and go, yeah, this is real. But if you look closely and really do some fact checking, this is fake. It is an open domain, which is what we talked about, the .net. But anyone can go in and purchase this website. All it takes is a little bit of money, a lot of time, and a whole lot of imagination. How many of you were thinking, oh, I can't wait to share this with someone later on?
Today, I learned that I can check resources if they're true or false by clicking the domain and checking if it's like .net or .com. And I can check the author or the date of the resource to check if it's true or false, so I don't spread information about false things.
One of the discussions we've been working on this week is how to evaluate the websites they're used to going onto, such as Wikipedia. We've had some deep discussions on Wikipedia. Is it a credible source or an uncredible source or non-credible source? After this lesson, they're going to be evaluating websites on their own and discussing it with partners in small groups. And in further weeks, we're going to be discussing how to cite our sources using websites and what is plagiarism, as well as copyright and fair use laws.
Keyboarding is an essential skill that we teach our students that will help them now in school on projects and essays and in the Arizona Merit testing, as well as in their later life in college and their future careers. We practice the keyboard recognition starting in kindergarten, but once their fine motor skills get developed, in about third grade, we start with the home row. Our students have made progress from this year to last year with keyboarding. The younger students are logging in more quickly, and the older students are more comfortable with their home row. They're working on their accuracy, and their speed is improving. I can tell that the older kids, the third, fourth graders, their confidence is growing in their keyboarding abilities, and they're practicing good keyboarding habits, which is important.
I use Microsoft Office mostly with my tests and quizzes for social studies. I think it's good for them to have that understanding of how to answer questions and how to do those things online, because that's kind of the way the world works now. So I create all of my tests and quizzes online. Multiple choice, I'm able to put multiple choice questions in there, and then of course constructed response questions, and I can award specific points for them, and then also give them feedback on those questions. So once I've graded them, then they can see it. I also like to use the quizzes there just because you can randomize the questions, so their screen is going to look completely different than another student's screen, so they won't be able to, look off of each other's screens when they're doing their test. We're learning about Greece, ancient Greece, and we just started it, so they're learning about the city-states of Greece. And so I used a PowerPoint that I'd already had and turned it into a sway because it's a little more, it's a better format, I think. It's more engaging for students. It's more like a website as opposed to just a PowerPoint that you're teaching from or looking at.
For each unit, our teacher creates this way, and it's there with all the information in the unit, so if we miss a class, we can revisit it to take the notes.
I had them go on there, and they had some information that they needed to read and take some notes. And then they had links at the bottom of the different city-states, and they chose one. They chose one to take some more notes on specific ones, and then at the end of that, I created a form in Microsoft, and they were to go there and they could fill out a questionnaire on there were 5 questions about their city-state. And so from there I can go in and grade those and give them specific feedback and award points that way.
Our teacher usually puts some assignments on his sway, which we go into teams, and that gives us like some notes and study guides. And sometimes he puts out quizzes that we need to do. And it's just a really helpful device that we can do to get our studies in.
I also use Microsoft Teams, not so much for communication at this age, because if they're open to being able to communicate with each other, I've found that that's more of an issue right now. But they can communicate with me, and I'll put the quizzes and tests on there. I'll put links on there for specific websites that I want them to look at. Maybe there's a certain video I'd like for them to look at. So using those two are pretty much the ones that I go to the most.
The Learning.com curriculum provides our K through 6 students with an effective and engaging platform to explore the many aspects of computing, everything from proper keyboarding to navigating the features of word processing programs to being safe online to coding. It really does quite a lot. Recently, I used Learning.com to introduce students to tools and features found on Microsoft 365. And right now, this is very exciting. My 3rd grade students are working on an animal research report, and I assigned them the lesson in Learning.com called Internet Usage, Research, Resources, and Ethics. And this tutorial took students through the research process and drove home the concept that we need to avoid plagiarism by making sure our sources are cited correctly.
I'm researching red pandas. I am researching the megalodon. I'm researching a desert owl.
And once we moved through this lesson, I was then able to guide students through the process of creating an animal research sources page using their Microsoft Word 365 account. And this page can be edited and then shared with their teacher once their reports are completed. And the students were very excited about that.
Our students love our Learning Lab. We're able to take the little ones in and use those touch screens. And for the older kids, we're teaching basic mouse skills and keyboard skills. So as they get into kindergarten, they're learning to type their names. Through our junior robotics program, we are partnering with Mr. Burke and his middle school robotics students to teach coding skills to our preschool students using games, stories, and Kibo robots. We also want to expose those students to that engineering design process so they become more familiar with that process and the vocabulary used in that process. We are also currently working with students from our Sossaman Middle School robotics class and our Sossaman Kinder Prep classrooms, and we will add more students and more classrooms at Sossaman next year. Our desire is to begin the program at Cooley next year as well. We believe that igniting the interest in coding, robotics, and engineering in those preschool students will elevate the level of student participation in those elementary and middle school robotics. Through this innovative program, our students today might be the ones teaching our students tomorrow.
So I'm Ms. Krause, Elise Krause. I am a retired electrical engineer, and I've been with Williamsfield now for 2 years. And so what I teach is the engineering, the AP Physics, calculus-based, and the software development. And so one of the things are all my classes are completely technology use. They complement all the hands-on project-based learning we do. For our first year engineering, they learn the whole entire design process, and they will also learn 3D modeling, how to do technical drawings. They will also compete in a national 3D modeling trophy contest, so for each year. Our second year, we actually we do robotics within the class. They will learn all different kinds. They learn hands-on. They will focus on electrical, mechanical, chemical, software engineering, civil engineering, where they actually build robots. They build things and test them with all of our computer equipment. We have probably about 7 different software programs we incorporate with their design. Our third year, which is our electrical and computer engineering, we use over 28 software programs where they learn Python, they'll learn Unity, they'll learn all kinds of different types of gaming, interactive, and basic software where they'll actually take an AP computer software principle test. So in all those classes and all my engineering, one of my key things that I excel and want to have in my classes is all different levels of learning. Traditionally, a lot of engineering classrooms are made for the high flyers. I love mine to be all the differential because people are all different. They love hands-on. They love the book. So if I can integrate all of them because everybody has things they can add to the program. Couple of things that we do 3 different robotics contests. We do one in class. Behind us, you'll see the first tech robotics. It's open to everybody in the entire school. This year, they're going to the state, New Mexico, Arizona state champions that ship in 2 weeks. We are going to a qualifier again this weekend. We've done unified robotics. Currently, we are the only team in the entire country that is actively competing in the mainstream competition. So we've gone for 2 years. And then we also do Skills USA, where we do robots. We also do, we'll do interactive gaming. We have done probably a combination of at least 15 field trips, a lot of them on the weekends, to different software challenges. Our AP Physics C is basically we use all the high-tech equipment that also matches the AP test. So we use Logopro, LabQuest, handheld. We have all computer sensorized equipment, which will teach the kids what they're going to see when they get in college and to complement the curriculum. So software development, it's another one. I teach that. It's our first year. That again has about 30 different programs we introduce the kids to. All hands-on learning. We've gone to Infusionsoft. We've gone to SparkJam. We continue to match with the professionals in the communities. You'll see behind me, you'll see Mr. O'Hare's back there. He's one of our mentors for our FTC robotics. So we have a lot of passionate people to help our program.
Skype education site is a great resource. They have lots of different guest speakers and other classes signed up. There's also lots of social media groups on Facebook and Instagram that you can just search Mystery Skype and teachers will connect that way too, just with other classrooms. It's pretty easy. There's lots of teachers wanting to participate.
Now we're gonna try and find your city.
So there's a couple different options with Mystery Skype speakers. We can have a classroom Skype between us and another classroom teacher, or you can have a guest speaker. That could be a museum, a park ranger, authors will do it.
Skype with a scientist. You can also do mystery numbers. Mm-hmm. So you can also draw in the science and the math part as well. I think Mystery Skype also has an excellent connection with the standards. So especially in 5th grade, they're supposed to know all of the 50 states. Well, what a better way to get a kid to memorize all the states is through something that's real. Like, why do I need to know these? Why do I need to know where it is on a map? Well, this gives it some legitimacy.
We are excited to have a class set of virtual reality headsets here at Bridges Elementary to support our STEM focus. We really appreciate our PTO working so hard to fundraise the money that was necessary to purchase them. The VR headsets are used in classrooms from 3rd to 6th grade. So for example, when our 6th grade social studies teacher is doing a unit on ancient Rome, she can share VR experiences with her students in that region of the world. Instead of just reading about a place, students can visit it by viewing 360-degree photos and videos. Our 5th grade science teachers like to use the VR headsets when their students are studying topics like the human body and space. There is an augmented reality component in the class VR headsets. When the students choose this option and then focus on the icon on the page, the image will project off of the page and become 3-dimensional. It's really cool to see. Class VR is easy to use. Teachers have access to lots of content for both virtual reality and augmented reality. Teachers create playlists for their students with the content already available from Class VR, or they can upload their own from a 360-degree camera or other sources they find online. Virtual reality provides engaging content for students during their lessons, which helps with long-term retention of their subject matter. The use of VR is becoming commonplace in many fields in industries, such as architecture, where clients can now walk through the building. It's even better than a blueprint. Car companies can do some of their testing before even creating their first prototype. And in the medical field, doctors can perform surgeries via virtual reality. So exposure to this technology now will prepare our students for the future.
This is our second year officially teaching coding to our elementary students. Coding falls under the ISTE Standard 5. We teach coding in a variety of formats, including plugged and unplugged activities. We use code.org, which is a website that offers coding experiences for pre-readers all the way through high school. We also use learning.com, which is our technology curriculum. When the students are coding online, they will be able to apply problem solving, critical thinking skills. They will recognize that codes are a language. They create an algorithm. They can debug programs using sequencing, if-then thinking, and logic. This year, I was able to work with the students on unplugged coding. We did this unplugged coding using Ozobots, which was very exciting. When the students use Ozobots for coding, they are able to create a visual code to program an Ozobot. They make sense of problems and persevere in using them. They use appropriate tools strategically. They look for and make use of structure. The Ozobots use sensors to read lines and codes. The students create paths and mazes for the Ozobot to follow and embed codes in those lines for the Ozobot to read, and it instructs the Ozobot to do an activity such as turn left, turn right, go faster, go slower, and spin. When the students worked with the Ozobots, they were given a limited amount of instruction on how to use them. They had to work in teams of 3 to create a path for the Ozobot to follow, as well as problem solve when the Ozobot did not do what they expected it to do. They were creating, they were communicating, they were collaborating, and they were critically thinking. The Ozobots are highly engaging, and I just love watching the students discover and learn, create, and think critically as they work together to complete their tasks.
The role of technology in my classroom plays a huge part. I mean, from researching to we do coding, we typing, we do presentations using Sway and PowerPoint. Anything I can get my hands on with technology, I try to use it. It really helps the kids with their critical thinking skills. It really helps them work as a team. When we do our Edisons, they have to work with their partner and listen to a partner, and we talk about collaboration, and then they want to ask me questions, but I don't give them the answers, like, okay, how can we figure this out? You know, so I try not to prompt them too much, like they really truly need to dig in and figure it out themselves before I will, you know, step in and help them. So they really enjoy it, especially when they figure something out that I didn't know. They get all excited because then they know something more that I didn't. So it's been fun. So for the last 3 years, I've got to go to SETI, which is Gilbert Public Schools invite us to go, which is really cool. So this past summer, or this last time, I took my dyad partner with me, Joanna. She teaches Soul Studies and ELA, and I teach science and math. And one of the trainings, the breakout sessions we went to was Meet Edison, and they were robotics. So we went there, and there's these little, you know, robots, and the instructor tied the
ELA with the technology, with the science. There was like all the components together, and I mean they were very short sessions, but it was just that little bit that kind of like, we want to do this again. And so we looked it up, and it's a 3-day workshop in Tucson. So in last June, we drove to Tucson 3 days in a row and went to these Edison workshops. And at the end of the workshops, they gave us 12 Edisons that we can use in our own classrooms. So that's what we've been using, the curriculum with it. And then books, it's called The Wild Robot, and then The Wild Robot Returns. And so we read that out loud, and then we take the scenarios in the books and make pathways or make little tasks that the kids have to use when they're coding their Edisons. And that the kids just really love that hands-on. They get to use the computers. Joanna actually won the $5,000 teacher grant wishes, and so she loves to share. So she got laptops, and they're touchscreen and everything through, and the district approved them. So we share 11 laptops. So we use those laptops also with our Edisons. And then on top of that, I've gone to some of the trainings with Valerie, and we've done sways, and the kids loved the sways. I mean, they caught on so well, and which, not many people know what sway is. It's just like another presentation tool. But between PowerPoint and Sway, some of the kids like the Sways, more. Some like PowerPoints, but we give them both options. One of the other things we've done is, so I'm the robotics coach here at Cortina, and a couple years ago we got Ozobots, and they're for the whole school to use. But this year, Mrs. McKeon, she taught the kids how to do the Ozobots. And then I took my kids and we went to our buddy class, which are first graders. And my kids had to teach the first graders how to use the Ozobots. So they get the basics of coding, following a black line, and then the robot, the little Ozobots, they read colors, and each color tells them to do something. And so the kids were coding their Ozobots with the markers and stuff, and the kids really enjoyed it. And my kids loved teaching them what they can do with the Ozobot. So that's something else that we wanted to extend that to, the lower grades, because they love it too, and they want to do it. And then by the time I get them, then I can do a little bit more. And by the time they get to robotics, we could do a little bit more. So it's kind of that building on each other.
The ISD and HUSD standard for innovative designer includes robotics and programming. Media skills and technology are excellent tools to differentiate and personalize instruction. When a teacher plans for a semester, a grading period, or even a lesson, they know that not all students will progress at the same level or even at the same time. And at that moment, when a student is working in programming or coding and building, they're making personal hands-on connections. They aren't just learning, they're creating.
We're creating functions to make it move.
I have learned so much from the students as their facilitator and mentor. My job is to introduce new concepts and provide a learning environment for all students. Programming and code are introduced to our K-6 students with the Hour of Code in December. Now all 1st through 6th grade students have accounts at HTA in code.org, and they work through the courses at their own pace. They're encouraged to try a challenge or a problem they might come to on their own before they run and ask a peer or the teacher for help. They learn that when a code doesn't work, through problem solving, you can just make some adjustments and try it again. From the beginning of our robotics club, we talk about the design process and how students' ideas and theories can become the solutions for the future. When students design and build a robot with their team, they understand that it's going to be an ongoing process. The original design will need to be tested and refined many times throughout the season. They have to learn to bounce ideas off of each other and work with the team to improve the performance of the robot.
It's a good team building activity because we have lots of people and we like to code. It's actually a lot funner than you would think.
But things happen. Robots break, programs fail, but it doesn't mean that we're not learning. Our teams did not get invitations to the state VEX IQ championship, but when the final match was over, they could all agree that they had come a long way and learned a lot this season. One of them even asked on his way out, "So, when can we get started on next year's robots?"
This is my 5th year teaching at Sussman, going into my 6th. We started this in 2013-2014 season. Applied Technology's first semester, where we work with teaching kids what is technology, what are 21st century skills, through lessons like the introduction to technology, infrastructure, civil engineering, a lot of circuitry and CAD systems. They learn those basics, and then second semester is all robotics. And the robotics resources that we developed is all through VEX IQ at the middle school level, and we had such success at our competition level that we actually use the VEX EDR system, which is a middle school, high school system for our competition. We have started with virtually 5 robot kits, and now we're up to 55 in 5 years. And we have enough robot kits for a 1-to-3, 1-to-2.5 ratio for kids, which is great, much more engaging. The problem that I found out over the years is the more resources we have, the quicker the kids learn the materials, the more I have to be creative to challenge them. So we've moved on from just simple robots and teaching them how to use the robot kits to meet the curriculum requirements with VEX, to using virtual forums such as SnapCAD. It's a CAD system that works with the VEX IQ robot, and the kids actually get familiar with the resources and stuff that comes in the VEX IQ Super Kit, and they actually use that in the virtual world first before they ever touch the physical kit. And then they'll actually go into programming using Robot C software, where they'll use the curriculum challenge pack in Robot C to learn basic movement program skills, learn how to use the sensors. Then I'll introduce them to the physical kit, where they'll use the knowledge they learned in the virtual world, understand what they have in front of them to physically assemble a chain reaction mechanism, the base bot, then the actual claw bot. And then they'll move back into the virtual world, where they'll use Robot C again to do basic, use their programming knowledge skills, develop the programming knowledge skills, and then they'll take that back to the physical robot. And that's all within the 3rd quarter, the first part of the 2nd semester. So they get familiar with basically everything in the first half of robotics in the 2nd semester. And then 3rd semester is all about creativity. What can they do to meet different tasks using the knowledge they learned from the 3rd quarter? And they'll just, the sky's the limit, what they could do. And every year it's just more and more and more, to where I have to get more creative and introduce other resources, such as aerial drones that we're using in our club. For some of these kids that just get it so fast, they're actually racing drones and creating course infrastructures, learning how to make a racing drone course using different flags and gates, assembling a drone, downloading firmware, and just going off. So, I mean, that's just this year in the 5th year. Gosh, I don't even know what's going to happen next year, but that's where I'm going to have to push the district to get me even more resources. So our club here at Sussman started with just 5 kids back in the 2013-2014 season. We have gone up to as high as 70 kids, and that was just too much to maintain with just one sponsor like myself. So we've capped it out over the last 2 years at 45 kids, and we're a STEM club. Our big focus is robotics, but again, we do racing drones and we do video production in that STEM club as well. It runs 5 days a week. The kids are here every morning, and they're here every day after school. It's a lot, but if I'm here, they want to be here as well. We've had great success. We've had last year, actually 2 years ago, we had our first team qualify for nationals. Last year, we had teams qualify for nationals, and we had one team qualify for worlds. This year, we actually, with the help of the high school, Mr. Sixkill did a great job for us. He gave us a VEX EDR kit because we ordered our high school competition kits. They never came, so Mr. Sixkill stepped forward and gave us, loaned us a VEX EDR kits, and our students started only in December at the middle school, high school level, And the last competition of the season, they won the Excellence Award and Design Award, which qualifies them for the FEX EDR state and national competition. And on the 23rd of February, they're going to compete, and hopefully they'll qualify for Worlds at the middle school, high school level. So it's real exciting, but there's just so much. It's like, these kids, as soon as they have success, it's like, hey, Mr. Burke, what's next? And sometimes I feel as a teacher, I'm doing this whole smoke, it's all smoke and mirrors, but it's like, okay, guys, we'll figure out what the next thing, where do you want to go from here? And that's the fun part about teaching this class.
The focus of this presentation is technology, but I hope in each case you saw how passionate our teachers are towards teaching our students. Technology can be a very effective tool to engage our students in learning, but the most important aspect of a successful classroom is the positive relationship between the teachers and their students. I know I felt that while I was spending time filming our teachers, and I hope I was able to present that in a way to which you felt or sensed it as well.
Where will you go with technology?
What will you create? You can change the world.
Let's take over the world.
Together!